And we be streaming.
All right, here we go.
Hey,
Episode 226 tonight, right?
I think so.
Always. Sometimes I don't check until I'm already talking, and so that I need to make sure. All right, here we go.
At least you don't go on a live stream and say it's February. Didn't Jason do that?
better. Oh, look at that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right, here we go. Ready? 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 226, recorded on April 18th, 2019. On tonight's episode, we discuss a huge week of Nintendo news with everything from a brand new Labo kit releasing to Smash Update 3.0, Nintendo Switch updating to 8.0, and we have Mr. Vaca with us this evening, straight from Twitter, direct to you to talk about Labo and all kinds of cool stuff going on at his school. Jesse, hit that sweet music. What's up, everybody? Welcome once again to Nintendo Dads. And I guarantee you that you will not find a finer collection of dad bods anywhere on the internet. Joining me tonight, straight from, you know what, we're gonna switch it up. Usually we've been hitting Jesse first this week. Coming back to the show, straight from England, where it is 4:25 in the morning, half dead, barely alive, drinking his Lucozade, Mr. Gary Gray. Man, how are you?
I'm not too good.
You went to Rest and you caught the con crud, didn't you?
Yeah, I caught the sleepy disease last week, so I missed last week. So my handy Tetris clock has welcomed me up this week.
So instead of last week him being on, he did his own little mini show, and we have that up in the audio feed. So you should have had that by now.
Yep. Yeah.
But no, seriously, all joking aside, you really are sick.
Yeah, I am. So I probably won't be on the. Probably won't be putting too much input in. But hey, it's my birthday where you guys are still.
Yes, it is. And happy birthday.
For another 30 minutes for Bill and another 90 minutes for us.
Yeah. Well, we're just glad you're back. And you were rocking some very sweet Breath of the Wild headphones there, and your Super Nintendo sweatshirts.
Fresh.
I love it. Also joining us this week, Mr. Jesse Waldak, who is not a persona. He is a real person.
Yes, no one had to rip off their mask to summon me.
No. How are you, man?
Pretty good. Everyone knows I'm not a Smash player, but I have had fun watching my son play, and we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah. Also joining us tonight, our guest of the show, Mr. Vaca at DoidLife518 on Twitter. He's a assistant principal. He's a Nintendo brand ambassador. He just so happened to get to have some exclusive one-on-one time with the creator of freaking Labo.
And you don't get much more exclusive than that.
Yeah, I know. Man, how are you?
I am great. Thank you guys again so much for having me on the podcast. This is actually my first podcast I've ever been on, and I've been a fan of yours for quite some time, since before the Switch even came out. So I'm so honored to be a part of this. So thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming on, man. We are just blessed and honored to have people who actually want to be on the show.
Yeah, I was hoping, once I got married, I was like, all right, Sarah, I want to be a Nintendo dad one of these days. Now, finally, I'm an actual dad.
That's right.
I have my own Princess Peach, not stuffed, but she's home with the wife. But yeah, I finally made it in the cool person club.
And you've not been, let's just clarify this for our audience. You've not been a Nintendo dad for very, very long at all.
2 months and 1 week.
Wow.
So you still have
sleep?
the sleepless nights.
Horrible. She just had 3 shots on Monday. She had just gotten under routine. She got her first shots, and now she's all out of whack.
Don't you love it? Don't you love it?
It's the best part
Fantastic.
of my life.
Look at what Gary is. What are you doing? Like you were going to flash something there, and then.
Did you get Labo ready?
Now we can't hear him.
Yeah, we can't hear
Oh,
you.
he's doing himself.
It was literally under my foot, so I was just moving it.
Oh,
Oh, that's how you start the show off right there, guys.
we're
We have
professional.
a ton of news to get into tonight, so let's just go right to it, shall we?
Forgot to bring the volume up.
News is brought to us by you, our patrons, over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for as little as $1 a month, you can come and be a part of our Discord server. And tiers range from $1 up from there, all the way up to $30. You can be a Patreon producer, and you can be on the show just like us once a quarter. And we want to say thanks to our brand new Patreon supporter, Bald Seagoyle. Not Seagoyle. Why did I say that? I'll turn into Groot. Despicable Me all of a sudden. Bald Seagull. Tim, for joining us over on Patreon. And man, thank you so much. Thanks to all of our patrons for all that you do. Again, we couldn't do this without you. And we are very, very super thankful for all that you are helping us to build over here at Nintendo Dads. And speaking of building, last week on Friday, Nintendo released its brand new Labo kit, the VR kit, which I think just right off the jump, we could say this. I think it's been met with pretty good, decent reviews as far as the kit goes. It's pretty hard to find right now. It's not actually available at a lot of stores, at least in hand. I looked at my own Walmart tonight, and they didn't have any of them. Though I did notice, and your mileage may vary on this, that the Labo vehicle kit is now down to $40 brand new at my local Walmart. So maybe they're just clearing out room for that or whatever. But we want to spend some time and talk about Labo because Gary has obviously gotten it. Jesse has gotten it, though he's not been able to actually get into the package yet. Gary has opened it up just to show the VR goggles.
Look up a little bit
and
more.
I've gotten a little bit of time with it, but really what we want to do, oh my gosh, that's terrifying. What we want to do is actually spend some time here with Bill and talk about a really cool thing that he does at his school with the Nintendo Club and how Labo Mania is running wild, 24-inch cardboard pythons, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, playing with your cardboard.
That's a deep cut.
It is. I was trying to go, well, what you gonna do, brother, when Labo runs wild on you? Anyway, I've been watching a lot of wrestling lately. I just can't help it. But, so let's talk the VR kit here first. Full disclosure, as I already said, I've got the full kit. Jesse, I believe you bought the full kit.
I bought the full kit, but it's still sitting. The box, right. The cardboard is still sitting in its box. Did you buy the full kit?
I've got the basic kit.
Oh, so the starter kit. So you just did the blaster and the goggles. Yeah. Bill, I know that you've got the
full disclosure. Nintendo, thank you very much for providing this product for our Nintendo Club in our school.
Wow, so they provided that directly to you, and I do know, and can say this, that I believe that we are getting a copy of this. Justin is getting a copy of this from Nintendo UK as well, so that's really cool. But again, full disclosure, I've not been able to get into the full kit as much as I've wanted to. This week has been super slammed for me at work. I was telling the guys before we went on air that there's not been a night this week that I've been home before 7:30 from work, and I go into work at 8:30 in the morning. So, been pulling several long days. This past weekend, I had enough time to put together the goggles and the blaster. The blaster took most of Sunday afternoon to put together, which I have to say, I built the robot kit and I built the entire variety pack. The blaster has been by far the most fun build for me so far. I really enjoyed just the actual building part of it. But the game is actually really fun. And so it's pretty engaging. So let's just break this down. Bill, you've had hands-on time with this, right?
Okay. So I got to play this actually about 3 weeks, a month ago. We were one of the first. They had a bunch of ambassadors down, and we got to try out everything that was already built for us, and we got to try out all the different games, and it was incredible. The VR is insane, but that's not even why I'm nearly half as excited for this VR kit compared to all of the other kits. And it all has to do with the VR Plaza, the VR Garage, and what the capabilities of that are, what that's going to provide for gamers, kids, adults, everyone. It's absolutely insane.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been insane.
So out of the ones that you got to, and again, you got to sample all of them, which one grabbed your attention the most?
There's no doubt the blaster's the best, and that's why it has to be the one with the starter kit, because with the blaster and with the whole kit by itself, the VR goggles, you can get the whole VR Garage, the whole VR Plaza, and the blaster is by far the most fun. The bird is, I think, great in itself, and Nintendo was smart to separate that from the camera, because the camera can do some really cool things, but the bird and wind pedal, that feeling that you get when you push the wind pedal, you legit feel like you are actually flying in the air. It's amazing how they've created this.
Yeah, just at first blush, I was very impressed with the whole effect, right? Like when you put it on for the first time and you're holding it up to your face, just the goggles. Let's talk that to begin with. You put the goggles together, and it's a fairly involved little build there, getting the plastic lenses situated, but then you hold it up to your face the first time, and the feeling that it gave me, and y'all can laugh if you want to, the feeling that it gave me was seeing 3D on the 3DS for the first time. Like the thought in my mind was, how does it do this?
Right. For me, it was like when I saw Super Mario 64 for the very first time. I was like, wait a minute, I can go in all these directions? What's up with this? But now this was like that reenactment, but now I'm 34 years old and I'm still having the same enjoyment. It was a lot of fun.
So to give you some details, the VR Plaza, you have access to, once you build the goggles, you have access to about, I think it's somewhere around 12 to 14 games.
Right off the bat, but there's a total of 64 in the entire VR Plaza.
But you have to do the other builds to unlock them.
Exactly correct.
So you've got 16 games or so. So if you then go ahead, say you're like Gary and you bought the starter kit and you build that and then you build the blaster, then that's going to expand that offering, but not by much.
Right.
So now, I want to kind of circle back to this. I think it's interesting that Nintendo advertised 64 games for the VR Plaza, but then kind of paywalled them.
But they did not. So I have that's not totally true. You don't actually get like another card that you're going to pop into the VR. You can just click the bird and make it, but not make it. And that will then open up everything that the bird has. So say
faking out the game.
You could build your own bird using your own materials, maybe not actually building a bird, but using whatever you have in your house to create what is in there and make it work in the same way, using your creativity so that you could access all the games and you don't have to have the actual cardboard there.
Right. But let's be clear, those extra games you have to have the functionality of that piece. Right. So like if you're going to play the Blaster VR Plaza games, you have to have the Blaster built to really enjoy them. I mean, you could get into them. You could go through and say, I've built this, but then to really enjoy them or to really play them, you've got to do that. Now, the VR Plaza games are not in any stretch of the imaginations like something that is just going to take your breath away. But what they are instead, and what we need to be clear on the front end is, this is a appetizer. Right. Is the best way I know to describe it. An appetizer for what's coming, an appetizer for what it can do. Exactly. And so you begin to see some of the 3D capabilities of the VR. You begin to see some of the gyroscope features. You begin to see some of the like the ways you can use the Joy-Cons with it to point and click and grab. But I have to say that from my time with it over this past weekend, the star of the show was the blaster. It was the game that comes along with the blaster where you're fighting aliens. And so picture the blaster, and you've got the Joy-Con, the goggles inserted into the blaster, and you've got a handle, and your other hand is on like the pump part, like a pump shotgun. And the way that like the build is so intuitive, the way it's built is it actually, when you pump it, something inside the barrel that you have built clicks into place and stays there until you push another button that you have created that releases it. And it has the feeling of recoil. It has the sound. It has, and all of this while you're spinning around
Right.
looking for these aliens that are going crazy on the screen. As you're it's like a 4 or 5 level on rail shooter, right? That you can play through. And it's, I mean, yeah, it's not Contra, it's not you don't expect Halo from this, but it's still very promising what could happen with it. Okay. So, Bill has a Labo club at his school, or a Nintendo club. And like he told us ahead of time, that Labo has just exploded at his school. And so tell us about that. Have your kids at school gotten to have that hands-on with the VR goggles and VR stuff yet?
Yes. So we actually had a crew of students. We were very, very fortunate. And Nintendo, seriously, we can't thank you enough. We were invited this past Sunday down to Nintendo New York. We brought 9 students, their families, and the teachers that have been part of what's called the Nintendo Labo Classroom. Institute of Play, also located in New York City, is a nonprofit organization, and they created lesson plans, grades 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. I think it was about a dozen, and it was integrated into the ELA, social studies, math, and science STEM curriculum. My special education kindergarten teachers saw that we were selected to be one of the 100 schools to participate in this program. We got those lesson plans, and my teachers were like, this is great, but we can adapt this to meet our pre-K special ed kids. And then my 5th grade teachers were like, we can take this and adapt it to meet our 5th grade enriched students. And then our high school robotics team teachers are like, we can take this and 3D print this and see how this is really working out. So
we can reinvent the wheel.
Right. It's started now with really our primary, our K1 and 2 2nd grade teachers. They created an additional 25 lessons for the K through 5. And they really focused on just a variety kit. We didn't focus on the vehicle kit. We didn't focus on the robot kit, but we made a ton of videos promoting how you can use that vehicle kit in any grade, K through 5, in any subject, and you can make it interesting for the kids to enjoy learning. So instead of having them write on the spelling mat, the word beard 5 times as a spelling word, they then have to drive the RC car to the different alphabet letters on a map on the floor and spell it out that way. Or if they're doing simple subtraction in 1st grade, they can have a fisherman go up, catch 3 fish, and do subtraction or addition based on the 3 fish's weight. They could do a science lesson based on it. And it could be something that just gets the kids' attention and then gets them really hooked on learning, which is basically why I started my Nintendo Club in the first place. I was a 1st grade teacher for 7 years. I got kids that didn't really want to participate in school, thought it was boring, got them excited because they wanted to learn about Zelda or Pokemon. And I used that as the little carrot on the stick to get them excited. Now I'm the director of instructional technology for the entire district, and I have the opportunity to spread it throughout the entire district, not just my classroom. So once the VR thing came out, we got to see it. As an educator, do you remember when Minecraft came out and when classes started to come up of how to use Minecraft and full-on college courses of building programs within Minecraft? Labo VR, the Plaza, the software to build games is just like that, but more in depth and easier to manage. Like when so let me backtrack a little bit more. This past Sunday, when we got to go down, we were invited to the only school in all of America to go down. They closed the whole store on Sunday for an hour and a half, and they flew down the director, Mr. Sakaguchi.
You were why they closed early that day. We saw the sign. We thought something was going to be. I thought they were.
You were the reason that the entire internet went nuts, thinking that the direct was real.
We thought they were redecorating the stores for some announcement the next day. That's awesome.
I love it.
This was insane. I still think like I'm dreaming because this opportunity, it never ever I thought this was going to happen. So and it's all because of my staff. Let me get this clear. This had nothing to do with me. My staff that have taken Labo and just gone crazy with it. It's inspired not just the kids, but other teachers, not just in our own district. We've had field trips for other districts surrounding us where their kids come to our school for the day. They learn Labo with our teachers. Their teachers will come, administrators will come, even board members will come, watch it, and they are sold the second they see it. We have special ed kindergarten trips
to go to
that
another
had
school.
Full-on behavior problems, very difficult behavior problems, that now can't wait to go to school and are sad if they're sick and have to miss a day because they are afraid that they're going to miss a day of Labo, which is hilarious. So when we got down to Nintendo New York, there was an entire group of Nintendo of Japan employees there, along with Nintendo of America. And it was the director, Mr. Sakaguchi, his team, a translator, and they had asked us to present something to them for about 15 minutes. So we presented our work, what we created. Then he presented Labo VR, but he didn't immediately let the kids go and play the VR games. And what's also very exciting as an educator, especially for the primary grades, you can turn the VR off. So if you have a 5-year-old kid, they don't have to have it up to their face. They can use it like an iPad and hold it like a screen and just move it around and their eyes will be fine. But what Mr. Sakaguchi did, the most inspiring thing, he taught all of us how to take one of those games, modify it, change the character to be huge, to be small, change the physics of how the things are going to be, change the arm length of one and the arm length of the other, would battle the kids and taught us like a TED Talk, like a true best practice of education. And so when I'm talking to him after, he doesn't even realize how truly educational his thing has become, his little baby of Nintendo Labo. And it's just starting to take off in the education world. And I think it's going to be what Minecraft has been in terms of what it can do with education.
I want to break in here and I want to say this. Yeah. I want to say something I've been thinking for like the last 5 minutes of you talking about this. Dude, you're one of my freaking heroes. This is awesome. Dude, like you're talking about this and I'm like, why can my kids not be in a class that you're leading like that? Because to take something that and obviously what comes across, and the reason, and I work with kids on a daily basis. That's my job too. And so the thing is that to see somebody passionate about kids learning and connecting the thing they're passionate about to kids and like changing it completely is freaking incredible. And you getting to be in that spot there at Nintendo New York, with your kids and do that is completely and totally 100% well deserved. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here and you're talking about this and I am blown away because I don't even know how to approach the Toy-Con garage. Like, I don't even know, like I look at that and I'm like, yeah, whatever, like I would move one thing over and like, I'd be like, oh, he's big. Great. I did it, move on. Because for us, Labo is just been something fun that we have done. But I do remember the very first, like last year about this time when we unpacked that variety kit for the first time. And I remember the minute that Labo clicked for me was watching my daughter sit, who does not play video games. She doesn't really care. She's more about dancing and drawing and creating, and this is the point. We built the house.
Yep.
and we put it in there, and the monster comes out for the first time. And yes, like
Yep.
if she had been, now she was 9 years old at the time.
Mhm.
Had she been a little bit younger, it would have been even worse. Like, I mean, it would have been, we would have never got it away from her, because that's how she was. Like when she was younger with like My Little Pony and different things like that, like she was completely obsessed with anything
Right.
cute, cute and
Right.
alive. And
Right.
so for her to have that moment and for us to be sitting around the table and watching her discover and watching her play and
Yeah.
was a really cool moment.
All right, time out. I have to now tell you a lesson that my teachers created based on that exact house. So as
Okay.
you know, there's cause and effect. You have the 3 different knobs, and if you put 2 in one spot and then move them to the other spot, something totally different happens. So our first graders that are practicing full sentences have the picture of the house. They have the little cutouts. They move them, like cut them out, paste them in, and say, when this and this are in these spots, then this happens. So they write it all out, and then we say, doesn't that sound a lot like coding? If, then. You just did coding with your hands. Now, let's move that to the screen. Now, Labo Kits 1, 2, and 3, when you went to the VR mode and you put it into the dock, a screen popped up that said this can only be done in handheld mode. You cannot do it in the dock. So when we were at this event a month ago, I said to Sam and to Camille, I said, is there any way that this VR kit could be switched so that you could put it on a big screen? Because I can't teach a class of 25 kids on this little screen. I need a big screen. And they're looking at me and they're smiling and they're saying, I'm sorry, we can't say anything yet. But look at the screen right here.
Uh-oh.
And it can be put on a screen because you need to have it. When Mr. Sakaguchi was teaching us, one of the craziest things was that he can't speak English, yet he coded an entire game in front of us, changing things in full English. He couldn't read it, but he could see what the boxes were and knew from creating it what he could do. Going to show that kids that are not maybe successful at reading could still use Labo VR to be successful in creating their own game. I pitched him an idea. As the kids were actually playing the VR, I said, wouldn't this be the best idea for a game ever? As a first grade teacher, your spelling word practice. Instead of writing in your spelling words, practice test, whatever, you put the VR goggles on, you got your blaster. I said, could you make this in VR where you have the little Yoshi clouds that are flapping and you have the question mark, but instead of the question mark, you have spelling words or vocabulary words. And some of them are spelled correctly, some are spelled incorrectly. And you have the blaster and you have to hit the words that are correct. And if you hit incorrect word, you either lose a life or you lose points. And the faster that you hit the correct words, the more points you get. And then at the end of the level, you then get that data sent to the teacher. The teacher sees your score and can tell, oh boy, this person needs help with their words or they're fine, they're ready to go. And the kids think they're playing a Labo game the whole time. And he goes, it's very hard, but it's possible. And he then breaks it down to me like, okay, first, you should try to do a multiple choice question. And once you figure out how to do that, then you'll be able to do this, and then you'll be able to do this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is insane. I can see the light bulbs going off on his head. So, I mean, I got to sit on my hands because as an educator, this is changing the game in my
I really think that your time with him there and your time with the team is like, as you describe it, like I'm thinking it's dual purpose. I'm thinking that they're there. They have brought you to say thank you for doing this and thank you for getting kids invested and on the other hand, they brought you there so they can learn from you.
Yeah. So
and can glean some of this knowledge. Cause I mean, it's, like the way, like even you just talking about that, that's you thinking outside of the box and seeing this in a way that maybe other people don't. Where we see just cardboard in a game, you're seeing a learning opportunity for students. So let's shift gears and let me ask you this: your students that played the VR kit or got to play around with it that day, what were their impressions?
Mind blown, jaw on the floor, couldn't believe it. I tried to get a full round, diverse group of kids from 7 years old to 12-year-old, 5 boys, 5 girls, and every single kid was like so bummed that they had to leave and that it was over, and they couldn't wait to go home and start building. And they were like, "Can we start building on the train?" We're like, "Nope, you're gonna lose all that cardboard. You have to wait till you sleep and wake up the next day." And that's all they've been talking about, and that's all the teachers have been talking about. You're totally right about the dual purpose, because what they have done to my staff has sparked it even further. So we were sitting today, spring break has officially started, happy spring break, and they wanted to spend an extra half an hour, 45 minutes after school, because they heard of Mr. Sakaguchi talking about in Japan, they have these summer camps that are focused entirely on Nintendo Labo. And our teachers were like, we need to have a summer STEM camp focused on Nintendo Labo. And they spent that time after school today coming up with a couple proposals that we're going to send to our board and to our superintendent, see what they think. And I'm just really excited for the future.
Dude, that is so awesome. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that story.
Thanks, man.
And talking about what's going on with you over there. Obviously, it seems like, as we said at the beginning of the segment, that the Labo VR kit is being received very well across the board. But I think personally that it has done a lot to breathe life into the idea of Labo across the industry, whereas maybe kits 1, 2, and 3 didn't set the world on fire, right? This one seems to have some extra momentum, and I think it comes from VR being such a prevalent thing right now. Right.
But just wait. The 25th, baby. We got Mario. We got Zelda.
I know. I cannot wait. And
real fun's just beginning.
You know, like you're teaching your kids how to mod the games. We're seeing people who are modding like the actual cardboard and adding head straps to it and all kinds of other stuff. And again, the possibilities are endless, you know, as far as what you can do with it. Like you said earlier, you can gather up your own materials and even try to attempt to build some of those things yourself. Just to remind people, the kit, the starter kit is out there for $40, and then the add-ons are $20 each, or you can just kind of go all in the beginning. But I don't want to say this is like it came out of nowhere, but I don't know that people, and myself included, expected it to do what it's doing and generate the buzz that it's generating, you know? So I'm glad for Nintendo, and I'm glad too that, you know, here they are, like Nintendo again. We kind of talk. I've heard, I think it's on Nintendo voice chat before that Peter Schneider calls them the mad toy makers, right? And that's what they do. This is where they excel. This is where they're really in their wheelhouse. And man, props to you for and your kids. Like I would love to see y'all. If you want to go over and you want to follow what's going on with his Nintendo Club, let me share this at Doid Life 518. That's DOID LIFE 518. That's over on his for Twitter, and youtube.com/Mr. Vaca. That's VACCA. Go over there and check him out. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about some other stuff. But man, that's got me fired up to go finish the rest of this kid.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finally getting a chance to get started.
Yeah, Jesse, I'm
my box.
That first, like, I'm almost a 39. I'll be 39 years old next month about this time. I'm an almost 39-year-old man, and when the first time putting on the goggles, it's magical. It really is. It's fantastic. Let's move on. Let's talk about some other stuff going on. Of course, this has been a huge week. One of the reasons being that we thought we were going to get a Nintendo Direct last week, and it did not happen because Mr. Vaca and his kids went shut down Nintendo New York for no reason. Right? I mean, that's what everybody else thinks. But I'm just going to say this here and insert this. I think that everything that we've seen come out of Nintendo this week was intended for some form of Direct because it was too well put together in a lot of ways. There was too much big news and Gary, you're shaking your head. You're saying no. You don't think it was?
I'm unsure. I don't know if there was ever really a direct plan for this week or last week. I think a lot of people think that it was meant for a direct because of the trailer for Smash, which we'll get into in a sec. But I just think it was a normal put together trailer, to be honest.
For 15 minutes?
Yeah, the first 3 minutes was the trailer. Everything else got into details. That's direct material.
That's very direct material.
And,
So let's
and
talk
they
about
just dropped it in YouTube,
Yeah.
just
So,
like any other Nintendo Minute video.
on Tuesday evening, Nintendo just unceremoniously drops a 15-minute plus YouTube video and a PR email about the Fighter Pass for Smash Brothers, as well as the 3.0 update, both of which would be announced to be releasing the very next day.
Which we were thinking maybe in the morning or noonish, but no, it didn't drop till 9 p.m. Eastern.
Well, we'll talk about that in just a minute too. The server issues, right? So here's we kind of knew the stage builder was coming, right? Nintendo accidentally leaked that in a commercial. What we didn't know were all the details about it. So stage builder is now part of Smash, where you can draw constructs with touch controls in handheld. Or through using the analog stick and buttons in either mode. By the way, let me just take a minute right here to say this. I said it in a live video that I did on our Twitter feed earlier today. Let me say this. Parents, right now, it's probably not a good idea to let your kids go onto the stage builder without some supervision, because people are jerks and life sucks.
And because the first thing people draw when they have the ability to draw are parts of anatomies.
There's literally a stage that was featured, and I talked about this one. The stage's name is Mario Peeing.
Oh boy!
And it's like a drawing of Mario standing on the side of the stage with a yellow stream coming out from his crotch. And I'm like, really? Why? People have gone in, also featured, because there were not a lot of stages, and like in the very beginning, featured on the front page was swastikas and all kinds of anti-whatever people. I'm not even gonna go there. Anyway, here's some other things about the stage builder you need to know. The main thing you need to know right now is, Mom, Dad, don't let your kids go on there without you. All right, just be careful. Yes.
Builder, that is just another example of Nintendo trying to teach us how to be creative. Not so much the negative side, but it's saying, hey, kids, you want to create your own level? Do you want to design just like in Mario Maker 2? It's secretly inspiring kids to be game designers. It's just really exciting from an educator point of view.
No, it's good, and that is a great perspective on it, because you can look at the bad side of it and what it's being used for, or let's try to find the positive of it, right? I did see earlier today too, and I thought this was really neat, that somebody had recreated the original desk from the original Smash Brothers, like that. In the opening cinematic where the toys were laying on it, somebody recreated the desk. There were some really cool ideas. Also, some things they've added to this that I think are neat that go along with this design idea there. Art assets can be placed in layers, so it can be as complex or as simple as you want. And stage pieces can be set up to rotate, move along a track, do different things in order to give the stage some life other than just being, here's some platforms and here's a surface, right?
Right.
And you can, edit the background, music, set all that. So you're right. They're, teaching game design there. They also introduced a video editor, which allows you to stick smaller videos together to make a montage style video with video effects, and you can even share this now on YouTube.
Have you guys played with it yet?
No, I haven't been able to.
It's like iMovie in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, Game Explain compared it.
Unbelievable.
Game Explain compared it to Vegas, which is what they use to make their videos. It's what I use when I make a video.
Yeah,
and it's very drag and droppy and
it's
slide
so
around.
Amazing. It's I hate to be repeating it. It's inspiring people with them not even knowing to be creative, to design, and show that you can do this even though.
Well, and what better game for Nintendo? Like, this is a flagship
Right.
title to introduce something like that too.
But what you were talking about earlier, the negative side, when I was back last week talking about the game, about shooting the spelling words, I said, wouldn't it be great if I could then share that with other staff members that may be across the country that want to do that as well? And they said, that would be great, but we don't want to take that risk. And that's exactly the reason why.
Because people prove time and time again that they're a bunch of...
Yeah.
Also, out of nowhere with this update, the Nintendo Switch app gets an update with the first game since Splatoon to have its own content. Smash World is now part of the Nintendo Switch app.
This almost makes the app viable.
It does. I mean, you tap on it. It does have some features in here. Yeah and Unya are back, which I noticed as well, Jesse. I'm going to pull this up right here as we're.
I'm glad you like
recording.
that. I put that in the notes.
So as you pull this up, the first thing you're going to see here, and this is just for our YouTube folks, is a little menu. It's got pictures that have been shared. It's got video that have been shared. Down at the bottom, 3 different buttons. One of them is a smash ball. It says press here to post different things. There's a messages feature where you can see messages about the game. Unfortunately, this is not messages to anyone or from anyone. It's from Nintendo. And then on the side over here, the opposite side of the smash ball, there is your creations, your Spirit team, your posts that you have made so that you're able to find those really easy. This is not mind-blowing or revolutionary in any way, but it's good to have a second icon on that front screen. It's good to see another game that is being supported there. It allows you to browse stages and Mii's to mark for automatic download the next time the game is launched, and videos uploaded from the video editor can be viewed in the app. But that's not all. Challenger Pack 1 is now live, which means that Joker is now a playable character, along with 11 music tracks included from Persona 3, 4, and 5. The brand new stage Mementos, which changes color to match the color scheme of each game. It's blue for Persona 3, yellow for Persona 4, and red for Persona 5.
That made me so happy.
Yeah, it's
how they integrated
really cool
music
stage.
choices into the stage design.
Yes, it's very well done. And you look at it at first, first blush, looking at it, it was like, wow, that's really plain. Then I played the stage a few times. I was like, yeah, this is great. A Joker route in classic mode is made available. A Persona-based Spirit board will be available soon. And you can get this for $5.99 standalone, or you can buy the Fighter Pass for $24.99. Nintendo provided us with a code for the Fighter Pass. So it's been cool to get in there and dig into all of that. Also, Mii Fighter costumes are back. I'm going to linger on this just a little bit. From Persona 5, there's a Morgana hat. Persona 4, the protagonist costume and a Teddy hat. From Persona 3, the protagonist costume. Sonic the Hedgehog gets a Tails costume and a Knuckles costume. These are 75 cents per costume on top of the Fighter Pass. All right. Now,
right.
Comparatively,
they're not included with the Fighter Pass.
Right. They're not included in the Fighter Pass. Compare that back to practices with Wii U and 3DS Smash. When an update came out, you got everything if you bought the bundle. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. When you did that, you could buy it piecemeal with Wii U and 3DS. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
I remember, because I would just go all in and buy it all, even though I never would really use all the Mii Fighter costumes. Why? Is there a bundle?
No.
For $4.50, there's no bundle.
No bundle. I'm trying to strike it out.
Yeah. So you have to buy them for 75 cents a pop. There is no bundle for this.
So it's $4.50 if you buy them all.
Yeah. So why did we do this? Just we like money, or I mean, I get it. They're a business, right?
Well,
it's a smart business decision, because I may not want Persona 4 and 3. I might want the Morgana hat. I might want Knuckles, but I might not want Tails. It's better for me to pay $1.75 than it is to pay $4.50, right?
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially people like you who's never played any Persona game, they may be interested in Persona 5 because of what's been added, and they probably they don't care about 3 or 4, so they don't want the Pro Tycoon costumes. So, well, it actually I'd be interested to see the numbers and how many people are buying all 6. I'd like to think it's not as many as you think, so it's probably, I was still expected a bundle just to make it easy to say, oh, I want 4 out of the 6, so I'll just buy the bundle and what the hell, and it's an
I
extra
think
buck and a half
what they
in their
could have
pocket.
done with that is sell 5 or sell 6 for the price of 5, and it would have been a little more enticing, right?
Yeah, or at least make it an even 4 or $3.99.
Yeah,
Give it a little bit, but even the bundles in the Wii U version, I don't think were ever a deal. I think it might have shaved off 3 pennies, depending on how the 99 cents gets chopped off.
It's kind of like how when they did the game and the Switch bundles, back at Christmas when they did like the Let's Go the Let's Go Switch with it pre-installed, like the difference was like 50 cents between buying it piecemeal but I mean it's the convenience, right? And you get the special system and all that good stuff. Bill, I see the Super Smash Brothers poster behind you. There, obviously you're a fan. Are you playing this? What do you think about Joker? Anything else you want to point out from this update?
My big takeaway from it, I love Joker. He's become my new main. It's been amazing. I think that Nintendo is doing the same thing that Microsoft is doing with the diskless Xbox. They're doing a market test, and Nintendo's doing a market test with these costumes. They're seeing if they can get away with it. They're seeing if anyone's going to buy it. My assumption. But the really exciting thing for me, again, is the education, how they're tricking kids into being designers by inspiring them and having them be creative.
Yeah. So let's little inside baseball here. Your prediction for DLC Character 2?
Mine?
No, Bill.
Okay. I'll give mine. I put it in Patreon earlier today, but go ahead. Bill, go first.
I don't know. I don't want to think it's that, what was the one? Not Fire Emblem.
Erdrick from Dragon Quest?
Dragon Quest. Yeah, that's who everyone thinks. I want to go random. I think it's going to be Magikarp.
Wow.
Yep.
If it was Magikarp, that would be one of the best things ever.
Yes.
I mean, we had Piranha Plant. Why not? Right? Now, let's rewind here. I think we made DLC character predictions. Gary, do you remember yours?
I have no idea. Yours? I can't remember.
Okay. So who do you think? Well, then let's just do it just right off the top of your head here. DLC Character 2. Because I think we predicted, as you're thinking, I think that we predicted, and Jesse brought this up earlier and reminded us that we would see, if they said it would go from this year, spring of this year to
February 2020.
February of 2020, that would be one every other month, right?
Well, between 2 and 3 months. I did the math. If they go every 2 months, the fifth one is in December. So it's probably be staggered. Probably 10 weeks between would make it.
Okay. All right, Gary. DLC Character 2.
Alex Kidd.
Yes!
Wow.
That's a deep cut.
It's deeper than your wrestling cut.
He can play rock, paper, scissors. He's got a little car. He's got a little plane. He's a perfect Smash character. He really is a perfect Smash character.
Okay, I like it. He could even, like you said, a car and a plane. He could have an alt costume, or they could do an echo character of Mario from Super Mario Land, and he could have a submarine and a plane.
I like it.
I'm fine with that, Jesse. So your theory.
I've been on the previous episode of the show. Before Cuphead was announced, I said Cuphead and Smash. Now, I still think that's a possibility, but what I said earlier today, and thinking about 2 months ahead, we're now in E3, I think there's going to be no word until E3. There's going to be an announcement during the Microsoft event announcing a Microsoft character, and it'll be available today.
Ah.
That's
Yeah, and who's your prediction for that character? Is it still Cuphead?
Oh, I think Cuphead's an option. I think Steve's an option. I think what else was I thinking?
I think there is no question that if it is a Microsoft character, that it is Steve from Minecraft.
Yeah.
I think that, and the reason why is this is I know a lot of people want Master Chief, and yes, that would be cool. I know a lot of people say it would be Cuphead because of the momentum, but which of those three characters has a more broad appeal to a larger family friendly audience? It's Steve.
Steve.
And if you threw a Minecraft stage into Smash, it's going to be absolutely nuts.
Right, and it goes with Nintendo mirroring Minecraft in the education
And so
world.
here,
Diamond sword and pickaxe will be items that can drop.
I'm gonna backpacking off of Jesse's comment here. You remember a couple years ago at the Ubisoft press thing where the president comes out and he brings out Miyamoto?
Yeah, for Rabbids.
Okay, so here comes Phil Spencer. Let's welcome our special guest, Masahiro Sakurai.
Yeah, and Miyamoto was on an Apple stage, so this has happened.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. I may not like it may not be a Smash thing, but I predict that there will be some kind of moment between Microsoft and Nintendo at E3.
I hope so. That would be awesome.
So it's going to happen. So let's talk about firmware 8.0. Firmware 8.0 also dropped this week, completely unannounced. This was Monday night. Probably helping get things ready for the Smash DLC in a way. I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with it. But a couple of new things that came with this. New Splatoon 2 and Yoshi-based avatars are now available. Those are from Yoshi's Crafted World, and they're pretty cool. Zoom mode can now be turned on from Settings, System, Zoom, which will let you double tap the home button and get a zoomed in look at the screen. Not only does this work on the home screen, it also works in games in handheld mode as well. Another new option in settings is...
it works in dock mode too.
Oh, it does work in dock mode.
Yep.
Okay.
I was showing my son
these are
this afternoon.
Accessibility options, actually, is pretty much what this is.
Yeah.
Another option is now in settings, sleep mode, wake when AC adapter is disconnected. It defaults to on, but when it's off, the system remains in sleep mode when you undock your system. In data management, you can now send save data from a specific game from one Switch to another. Isn't that interesting? Let's route back to that when we talk about our rumors this week, shall we? Also, all software... the all software screen now has sorting options listed. The default option is listed first, but also during or the four that you can kind of choose from are time last played, total playtime, title, and publisher. We're one step closer to folders. I feel it. It's going to happen eventually, but I do love the sort feature. This is good.
One thing I noticed about the total
have
playtime.
An alphabetical list now is fantastic.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about the total playtime, because obviously, I have 250 hours in Pick a Pix Colors. I have almost 200 hours in Breath of the Wild. They do not show up in the top of my list because they were on a different system. I got the replacement system a few months ago.
Right.
That's why. I couldn't figure out why mine didn't work.
Yeah, so only the top played games
on my
system are showing up. So Pokemon, the game I can't talk about till next week. And
you can say what it is. You can say you've been playing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Steam World Quest. I've been playing Steam World Quest. Yeah. Anyone who's following me, will see it every time I launch it. It shows up. So yeah. But I just can't talk about anything more than that yet.
Okay. It's interesting that you mentioned Pick-a-Pix because also announced this week is that Picross 3, right? Or is it S?
Picross S3.
S3 is coming to the Switch. Is it this month? Next week?
Yep. I would have pre-ordered it. I would have already bought it if it had a pre-order. I'm sorry, say again?
Pear's going to be happy about that.
Yes. I think he's the one that I saw tweet about it.
Yeah.
So
And
so that's good.
It looks like this has the same modes that the previous ones had, with a new color mode. New color pick Ross mode.
Okay.
So I'll be getting that next week.
Awesome. Yeah. Next week's huge for games as well. You've got the Labo update coming out. You got Mortal Kombat 11 coming out. You've got SteamWorld Quest is coming out. It's kind of like this week. There was a lot out this week too. May 16th, Castlevania Anniversary Collection has gotten a release date. I'm so happy about this. One day after my birthday. All games in the collection have now been announced as well. This is a classic Castlevania collection. That may be what they should have called it. But you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, Super Castlevania 4, also known as subtitle the best Castlevania game ever made. Castlevania Bloodlines, which I'm super excited about because I used to geek out about that game on Sega Genesis because I remember it coming to Sega and I was like, what is Castlevania doing on a non-Nintendo system? You know, when I was a teenager. Castlevania The Adventure and Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge, both Game Boy games. And guys, freaking Kid Dracula is in this collection. The Game Boy game Kid Dracula. I had this on my Game Boy back in the day. And it is amazing. It makes absolutely no sense because it was like it's a part of a series, and they bring it over here, and it's like
nonsense.
It makes no sense because the story, like they reference all these names, and you're like, It's a really fun game though. It's a really cool game, and I'm glad it's never been released again until now. So Konami is
same with Bloodlines. That's never been re-released.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So not only there's another Castlevania collection coming out too, right? They announced 3 collections.
Well, the 3 collections were an arcade collection. I think that's already out, or will be really soon.
Yes.
And the Castlevania collection, and then the Contra collection. And we suspect there's additional Castlevania collections coming because they referred to this as the first one, the first collection.
Yeah. So basically what they're doing is they're collecting the history of Castlevania here. So these are the initial releases, and then they're going to move on hopefully to Symphony of the Night and the others that people are, those are the ones, the more modern that people really, really want. I'm super stoked about this collection, and it's a day one purchase for me.
And then I noted that it'd be nice to see the Famicom Disk System version of Castlevania instead of the NES version, because you'll have save states.
Yeah. So is there any other difference? Because I know that people will listen to that and be like, well, why would we want that one? The music's probably a little bumped up and on.
It'll probably have used the enhanced music channels. I don't know, other than that it has save states, I don't know the difference. That we should probably poke Ash Paulson to see if he'd know. But because they said, because they actually were referenced in one of their last episodes. If you die at Dracula, you go back to the start of that level, where with the Famicom version, you can save states along the way, so you don't have to do the entire thing.
Yeah, see, and
then if you turn the power off, you got to start all over.
Mm-hmm. Been there many times. Thankfully, there's those save states on the NES Classic, and that's how I finally beat that game. Just a couple other little quick news items here. New Amiibo will be released on July 22nd. Pichu, Pokemon Trainer, and Isabelle will all be released on that day. Those are up for pre-order right now on BestBuy.com, as well as a reprint run of all 4 champions from Breath of the Wild. Those will be released on May 17th, and I'm not sure if they're Best Buy exclusive or not. Judging by the fact that they were up for a while and had not sold out, I'm guessing that's Best Buy only, since they're doing a lot of Amiibo reprints. Wow. Also on the eShop right now, Box Boy and Box Girl demo is available. It releases next Thursday in another crowded week of games for $9.99. Guys, if you're looking for a puzzle game on Switch, please do not sleep on Box Boy and Box Girl. These are fantastic titles. I'm thrilled it's a new game. I wish they'd bring the collection from the 3DS to the Switch as well.
would expect that they'll be doing that at some point.
Well, I think it depends on how this sells.
I think it's going to sell fantastic. I mean, especially if the demo's out early, like, it's going to do great.
You know what? I hope, I want a QB amiibo release stateside.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to import that, but I'm probably going to do it because it's awesome. It's a dang box with legs. Come on. The best amiibo ever. Also getting a release date this week. This one's super exciting too. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, will release July 19th. That is a Nintendo Switch exclusive. That will give you plenty of time to digest the fallout of Avengers Endgame, which we are exactly 1 week away from at the sound of my voice. I have tickets.
Yeah, we may need to discuss about when we're recording, because if you have tickets, the 10 o'clock may not be a good time to... Yeah, so you're out of the theater at 9:40, including...
I hope so.
So,
yeah, we're probably going to have to adjust our recording time next week, but we'll talk about that.
And I still don't know when I'm seeing it yet. I hope to find out tomorrow.
Awesome. So by the time you hear our voice next week, we will know all the spoilerish spoilers for Endgame. But
Very twisty.
We will not spoil.
And all the twisty twists.
That's right. That's all our news, Jesse. Let's talk about some rumors. All right, so the rumor has been swirling all around the internet over the last few weeks about 2 possible upcoming hardware revisions to the Switch. That rumor has not yet gone away. It is still out there, and it's only picking up steam, including some dubious mock-ups that I have seen floating around Reddit and other places. There's also an image.
Keyword there.
There's also an image that we tweeted out on our account earlier this week of the supposed back plate of the Nintendo Switch Mini, which
I thought that was the dubious one. Is there one that's worse?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Some
of them that are out there are showing like flip case designs, like the 3DS and different things like that. However, news is now starting to kind of coalesce around one specific rumor.
I saw one mocked up like a Game Boy SP clamshell.
Yes, and that would actually be cool.
Yeah, I think. I don't think he was trying to say this is what it might be. I think he was just having fun with the design.
Sure. Yeah. So kind of the energy is starting to kind of come together around one specific rumor, and that is that the Switch Mini is incoming this year, possibly this fall, but the more powerful Switch Pro, or whatever you want to call it, the Pro model, the more powerful model, has been pushed back due to technical concerns. And I don't know what those technical concerns are. In fact, the article that I read does not even mention these as well.
When I read, one of them was battery life.
Okay.
They didn't want it to last more than... Now, this is just me joking thing. They want it to last more than 20 minutes. And they mentioned something else too. I don't remember what it was, but it was the battery life. That one that was like the big main thing that stuck out to me.
I just want to... I don't think we have to spend too much time here other than to just touch on this and talk about this. Bill, we have not heard your opinion on this. As a guest of the show, we hear our voices all the time. What do you think? Are we going to see a Switch revision this year, or is it too soon, or what?
I honestly don't think so. Knowing from what I've seen Nintendo's PR team do and how they have pushed the Switch all the way back, like, they're really good. They are tight-lipped. They don't let things really get spoiled too much. And if they wanted something to leak, like, it would 100% be on their terms.
Sure.
So I don't think that anything you've seen is real. I don't believe that the rumors that you hear are real either. I think it's going to be a 2020 thing. That's my guess. I think.
Do you think that this is just a thought I had, and maybe this is crazy, but Do you think that maybe it was on the books, but because of the just blowout holiday season they had in 2018, that it may have gotten pushed back?
Right? And they're thinking, why mess with their gold mine right now? Like, they have hit absolute gold again. Like, this, when you think about it, why did Reggie retire? Because you really can't get much better than where he's at right now. He had the Wii, went down the Wii U, brought it way back up. Like, this is something you don't want to mess with.
He's walking out on the conquering.
Absolutely.
You know, he's the conqueror.
So they're gonna wait until it's time. Like, okay, so here's what I was looking at. Do you remember when Labo VR was the prototype got leaked, and how long that was between that and this past Friday?
Sure.
It was about half a year.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would release it in the holiday season because they have so many games coming out this holiday season. And if they switch everything up, it's going to confuse people just like how they did with the Wii U. And that's not what they want. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Guess. I don't know.
Gary, we talked about this on the show a couple weeks ago. You didn't get to be on. What are your thoughts? I mean, what you think that you agree with Bill? You think that maybe it's just smoke right now, or is it more serious?
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is with stuff as it is at the minute. There's so many YouTubers who create ideas and mock-ups and 3D printings of things and stuff that it's easy for the story to get lost and to become a rumor, even though it could have just started with a YouTube video. And I think that this whole Switch Mini thing and the leak is complete BS, to be honest. I think that the backplate just, I mean, if anything's going to leak, just the backplate, that's a bit weird. That's too strange for me. Like, no, I don't believe it.
Yeah,
I'm out on that one.
I heard someone say that someone zoomed in to see the model number, and it matches the model number of the current system. So I think that's kind of debunked.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, that's...
And that design reminded me of like how ugly the iPhone 5Cs were.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
I think
the thing is, to me as well, is they're pushing Labo so much right now. Why would you want to take the Joy-Cons away? Why would you want to do that?
Exactly.
right.
That's
I mean,
the whole point of Labo. You need those.
Yep. Labo is useless. Starlink's useless. Yeah.
Mario Party's useless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's like I want to think about it from a parent perspective as well. You have a whole new legion of young Nintendo fans, right? That just got introduced to, quite possibly got introduced to their first Nintendo system.
Exactly.
Maybe they had the 3DS, but this is their first console, like home console Nintendo system. So why piss off a legion of parents who just bought into the Switch a year before, right?
Okay.
Praise.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm still thinking that this has a possibility of doing similar to what they did with the 2DS. They sold 2DS and 3DS side by side. This can be Switch Mini. I like to call it Switch Junior, along with the regular Switch, on the same shelf. External Joy-Con can still be connected to it, so all of your Joy-Con required games can still be used. Though because of the form factor and the screen size, would make it maybe not usable for Labo. You still would need a big one for that. But other than that, everything else that's been said of a reason why it wouldn't be good would still work with external Joy-Con. Go ahead, Bill.
Except for one. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Go. You go.
I was going to say, except for one thing with that, what's the point in having a Switch Mini, a cheaper model, when you've still got to buy external Joy-Cons and it'll be just as expensive?
Well,
because that definitely won't annoy people.
Bill, jump in here because you're like waving us down over there.
I think you're right on the money, just slightly off. Instead of a Switch Mini, the Switch Mini is our current Switch, and instead they're focusing on a Switch Pro. Why did they push back Metroid 3? Because of the Switch Pro. They're not focusing on dumbing it down. They're focusing on saying, okay, we got that new Legion. but we need to get the hardcore gamers back too. And the only way to do that, to rule the whole world, get the Pro. We don't need a mini. We need the Pro. That's where I'm hoping they go.
If this current iteration of it becomes the Switch Mini, if that's what it is, I'm fine with that.
Me too.
And I would gladly buy in. At this point, honestly, if I have a system that plays 95% of the same games portable, and God forbid, I'm going to say it, a Switch that is non-portable because of the power that's required. If it accepts both both things, exactly. I'm fine with that.
I would love that. And they had games that were built to go for both the Pro version, the home consoles that you have crazy 4K, 8K graphics, and then you can take it on the go, get your, normal Switch, and still play and get your save progress.
Yeah. I think that let's loop back to something that we talked about earlier, which was in the 8.0 update. Data management can now send save data from a specific game from one Switch to another. I think that there, again, where there's smoke, there's fire. A lot of people are calling this the reference to multiple Switch units or different SKUs of Switch units. And I just think that we're at a point right now where it's too early to speculate. Time will tell.
Right.
What it is, but if it is they're going to upgrade to the Pro and leave the current Switch as the same, leave it as the introductory system, I'm fine with that, especially with reports of I guess like the soft leak or the soft launch of PS5 news this week, where like the bottom line price I'm hearing is $600.
Yeah.
If Nintendo can pull that off for $4,
that'd be insane.
Yeah,
that'd be insane.
And then them say, "Hey, you've got the Switch. Well, all your Joy-Cons and all your Pro controllers and everything work on this. You just bring them over."
Yeah.
Can I just interrupt 1 second about that?
Sure.
The one question that I think you got to ask yourselves is, when has Nintendo been bothered about the power?
Yeah.
Because
I thought about that actually too.
Well, they tried that with the N64, but because of the carts, they kind of bit them in the butt.
Yep, and then they tried it with the new 3DS and released 2 games that was exclusive for it. So the thing for me with the Pro version,
at least the other games did take a benefit from it.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's just one of those conversations that, like, I think we can roll with it. We can get millions of ideas. I mean, I'd love a headphone jack in it, so you can into one of the Joy-Cons, so you can use chat through that. But ultimately, I mean, Nintendo right now is sitting on the almost perfect system for them. It's selling well. It's got all these accessories like the Labo VR and stuff. So do they really want to change the shape? Do they really want to destroy the fact that it switches from dock to handheld? Do they really want to destroy, for the casual gamers, the single Joy-Cons, so 2-player from the box? There's a lot of things that you need to consider with a Switch Mini and Switch Pro. And I think messaging is really important. I think they've messed up so much with messaging in the past between the Wii U, the new 3DS, the 2DS, that if they've learned any lessons, they would not do any of that. And they would just release a more sturdy console, but using the same shape and the same Joy-Cons and stuff like that.
The new Switch 2D.
Yeah.
With Knuckles.
And yeah, I don't mean to be the destroyer of dreams. It's just
no. I get what you're saying. I mean, I think that's a necessary side that we have to look at. Is
and another reason why
they're
I'm
not
thinking
chasing the power game.
Another reason why I'm thinking what I'm thinking is, the 2DS launched day and date with a Pokemon game. It's for the first generation, first game on the 3DS generation. So I'm thinking the same thing can happen here. Switch Junior day and date with Pokemon for the younger.
One other thing to remember too is this, and just to throw a devil's advocate into your argument there, Gary, about Nintendo's traditionally not cared about power. With Reggie's departure, we are now operating under a completely non-traditional Nintendo.
We are,
except for except for Miyamoto and a few of the guys who admittedly have stepped back in recent years. We have completely new leadership with completely new ideals.
True.
So I'm just saying we could see that mentality change.
Yeah, they're still a conservative company, but I don't think they're nearly as conservative as they were 20 years ago.
The other spin I want to put on this is the parenting perspective. Okay, a lot of people are saying about the 2DS and making it a bit more friendly for kids. Right, this is where you need to step back just a little bit. The 2DS was a really good thing because the 3D effects, you weren't supposed to use them at a young age, and the system fundamentally was the same. It used the same cartridges, same games. It wasn't broken in any sort of way. There was no, apart from the extra thumbstick thing, there wasn't really any official accessories that were completely useless with a 2DS. The Switch is in a completely different position with Labo and stuff. But my point of it is that people are saying like they wouldn't trust their kids with a Switch, but you're trusting with a $500, $600 iPad. So the thing is, to me, is that it's kind of an invalid argument with I won't trust my kids with a Switch. I trust my daughter with a Switch. She's 4. She plays the Switch handheld. That's fine.
But
maybe that's
in
just
2
me being
years
relaxed.
when she wants to take it to school with her, that's going to be the big argument.
But most kids in school. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of kids in school that are taking like iPhone X's and stuff. They're $1,000.
Wow.
They're not. They are not a £200 system. So
That's true.
So the thing for the cost and the kids proofing and stuff like that, I don't really bite with that one, because I mean at the end of the day it's down to a parenting point of view. If you don't want to play the kid playing your console because you're protective of your console, but you will give them an iPad, I don't know what to say with that one. That's just the way that you're looking at it as an individual, because if you're putting it in terms of price value, yeah, I mean the Switch is way cheaper than any iPad to play crazy whatever it is, Bubble Witch. is that the thing that people play, Bubble Witch?
It used to be. I'm not so sure anymore. Let's move on from these rumors and innuendo and all kinds of other stuff, and let's talk about some events going on around the community, shall we?
Do it.
And that sound means it's time to talk about different updates and events. Pokemon Go events are coming up. May's Community Day will be on Sunday the 19th, and it will feature Torchic from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. your local time. Torchic will appear more frequently in the wild, with a good chance it'd be a shiny 3X catch Stardust. And if you evolve a Combuskin before 7 p.m., it will grant you an exclusive move, which is yet to be announced. Also, be sure to check out. There's Mario Tennis Aces had a also unannounced update this week that added ring shot mode, but also added a brand new opening cinematic out of nowhere.
Wow!
And the funny part about it is you can go in and you can watch these in the menu, and it actually lists them as 2.0 opening and 3.0 opening.
What was the 1.0?
That was I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of.
Don't number them that way. If we're not willing to answer that question.
I will say the 3.0 opening is fun. It's good, but it gives a little more perspective, I think, on the story they're trying to tell in that game. And congrats to Nintendo. Props for them for trying to tell a story in a tennis game.
So the 4.0 opening will require VR.
That's right. Yeah, you are the tennis ball. All that being said, let's talk for a few minutes as we close out the show about what we've been playing. All right, Mr. Vaca, as a guest of the show, you get the honor of going first here. So tell us what you've been playing.
Well, besides Labo VR, best game ever, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy X. Haven't touched 10-2, but I love that Final Fantasy X is now back.
Yes. So good. One of the best ones.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's in my top 3, I think.
Yeah.
It's 9, 7, 10.
See, I love 8. 8 was my favorite.
I'm sorry.
There's
my
more and more
mouth a little
people
bit.
saying that they like 8. I tried 8 and I did not like the magic
Is it
system.
confirmed that they lost the code for that game and that's why it's not available?
That's Squall, right? Squall is 8, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Squall's in.
That's the one I love.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think they'll ever admit to that, but that's the standing rumor.
Gotcha.
you're not-
They
you- 'cause
just dumped
you're
the
not
code and it's gone.
You're not seeing 8 come out anywhere. So
No,
it's
no.
nothing against the Switch.
Yeah.
Well, we still have our YouTube Let's Plays to
Yeah,
keep us warm at night.
So
Gary.
I was
Oh,
gonna say,
sorry,
well,
Jesse. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, well, I'm not going to buy 10 and 10-2 for the 4th time because I've already bought it 3 times over the years. What I do want to do this when I'm done with everything else that's I have queued up, I do want to play 10-2, which will be for my first time. I've dug up my old PlayStation TV, and I tried setting it up into my system, but I forgot it had HDMI encryption, so I need to get some splitters and more cables to kind of break that encryption to get it set up so I can play it and if
I
let's
love
play
10-2.
if I want or yeah. So that'll be my first time
10-2
playing
is
that.
like 10-2 is like some weird fever dream that somebody had in the Final Fantasy studios
Yeah.
where they basically were like, what if we made a sequel to a Final Fantasy game and married it to playing with Barbies? And
I'm curious about it, but
changing
on
their
the other,
outfit.
in the back of my head, everyone knows I don't like job systems very
Set that
well.
expectation super low for 10-2.
Yeah.
Right,
But now, Jesse, here's
I
the
have
thing.
I have seen job systems that I've liked. Dragon Quest IX, had no problem with that. So, I'm not completely shutting it off, but it's
As you think about this, imagine a like Charlie's Angels esque vibe where Yuna is all of a sudden a K-pop superstar, and you have X2, you have 10-2.
so this is a prequel to Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yeah, basically,
Nothing like
without
that.
the Fire Emblem characters. Those who listen to the show for a long time know that Jesse has quite an infatuation with Tokyo Mirage Sessions. And we're still believing for you that there's going to be a port of that to the Switch.
And even if it does come out, I don't know if I want to buy it because I don't know if I want to play it again. Just because it's another 70-hour game I don't have the time for.
Yeah. Gary, what have you been playing lately?
So, pretty much at home, absolutely nothing other than SteamWorld Quest, which obviously we can't talk about till next week. But
Can I just point out that everybody on this podcast, regularly on this podcast, is playing SteamWorld Quest except me.
Aw. I'm
I'm serious.
man.
I feel a small jealousy. I don't have time to play it, but I feel a small jealousy. I has jealousy.
But just quickly, one thing we missed on the community stuff. UK peeps, if you're at Insomnia 61 this weekend, the gaming festival, there's actually a Pokemon Go event there. They partnered with Pokemon Go. I can't remember the exact stuff that's happening, but make sure you bring your Pokeballs and batteries charged and all that sort of good stuff. But so, yeah, I've been playing a lot of games, just not on my system. I've been to EGX Res, which obviously I overslept last week's show, so I missed that. I missed the opportunity to talk about it then. So I played Cuphead, Katana Zero, Untitled Goose Game, Double Kick Heroes, Kunai, My Friend Pedro. Wow, the list is.
Can I just ask a question?
Yep.
And I know you probably can't talk. I don't know if you can talk about it or not. Untitled Goose Game. Yay or nay? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Absolute yay.
Okay, thank
I know
you.
they're still
it's
calling it
so funny.
Untitled Goose.
Are they still calling it Untitled Goose Game?
It's the name of the game. It definitely
Yes.
is. I mean, they
I
wouldn't
love
get
it.
all these like big signs up saying Untitled Goose Game. It's gone on for long enough now. If they called it Goose Game or Titled Goose Game, no, it's not gonna happen. It's Untitled Goose Game.
The sequel to it can be called Titled Goose Game.
They need to do one just called Pending Goose Game. But yeah, I mean that game.
No word on a release date from them as you played it.
Later in the year. I mean, the demo that we played still said spring, which obviously isn't a thing now. But yeah, it's exactly what you expect it to be. Pretty much, it's just fun, just pure fun.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
But there's a lot of Switch games there. Some of them were in the Xbox area, but they are coming out on Switch. So yeah, just got a hand on with a lot of fun games. I also met Julius from Image and Form as he was playing SteamWorld Quest as well.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, it was a really good event. We got
It
to meet
looked
a lot
like
of
you
people.
guys had a great weekend.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was really good. Last time I went there on my own, and it was red hot, and it was sweaty and stuffy. This time it was really cold. It was the complete opposite, especially on the Nintendo section, which had it was raining at one point. But
And this is why you're sick today.
yeah, probably
Yeah.
there's a whole gang of us, so it was a great
Well,
laugh. But,
and not to mention that if you've never been to a convention like that, the legend of the con crud is real. Like there are people who come to these and they either don't get out of their hidey holes or don't shower until it's time, or they don't even do it at all. And they bring all kinds of just
Diseases.
bacteria and disease along with them. And I don't
actually-
understand living
I
like that.
I actually think EGX Res was a lot different to any of convention. Like I agree with you, especially Comic Cons. Like if you can afford a ticket to Comic Con, you can afford soap. Let's just leave it at that. But EGX Res is a completely different sort of event because for a start, there's like the queues are tiny. You don't have to wait around for stuff other than pizza. And it's all around a good vibe, you know. Everyone's there for the love of indie games. It's not like the big events where you got people waiting. Well, I'll play Uncharted, but I think this game sucks. You know, you don't get that attitude at them. It's just a all around good time.
Gotcha. And you can go and we have a bonus episode up right now in
We
our
do?
feed of Gary talking about his time at EGX, as well as a lot of the games that he played there. And I believe you sent us some video as well that's over on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, there's some videos going up. They're going to be going up for the next couple of weeks. The podcast, it did get cut a little short. I had a few technical issues. As you guys know who listen to the podcast, every once in a while my PC kicks me off. It was actually broken last week. It wouldn't go 10 minutes without shutting down. But thanks to the wonderful people at Acer Support on Twitter, they sorted it out for me, and it seems to be okay now. So
It's kind of like today when I was trying to go live on our Twitter account and somebody called me in the middle of it, and it just shuts the video down. I'm like, that's not helpful, Apple. Just take the call, send the call to voicemail if I'm doing video.
yeah,
You hear me, Apple? That's next iOS update. Just be done with it, because it happens to me all the time. I make videos for my work, and like I'll be chugging along on the video and like be 3 minutes into a 5-minute video, and I get a phone call, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
This-
They have-
just
Turn on Do Not Disturb mode first.
well, I guess I could do that, but I guess that's why they have that. But I just want it to do it when a phone call comes in, when there's video. That, like, seriously, there's code for that. Jesse, you have been playing, and I would let you say the name of this game, but I want to say it. You've been playing Sudoku. Relax.
Yes.
Sudoku. Relax. Tell us a little bit about this game.
Okay, so yeah, it came out today. It was when I saw it before I went live, because again, for some reason, eShop games went live at noon today instead of earlier, so it was marked at $5, and I was thinking I might pass on this one because Sudoku is Sudoku, just like Minesweeper last week was Minesweeper. So what makes it good or not on a game is how good the UI is, and it's surprisingly difficult to do. And have a good UI in a Sudoku game. I have disliked the majority of Sudoku games I've played. That's why I was on the fence at $5. It came live at $3.50. I'm like, okay, I can bite for $3.50. So, if you don't know what Sudoku is, you are given a 9x9 grid broken up into 9 squares, each of a 9x9 set of squares. And some of these cells are pre-populated with a number from 1 to 9. You have to find to solve the puzzle. You find every row with the number 1 to 9 without duplication, every row 1 to 9 without duplication, and then every 3 by 3 square has numbers 1 to 9 without duplication. So, simple game, but you know how I like puzzles that make me think a little bit. So I like this one. This one has a good UI. So some of the things I look for UIs that I like versus I don't. When you're writing, you can write little pencil marks if you think, this box can be a 3 or a 4. So you write little pencil marks in there. When you mark an adjacent square with a big 3, it will remove all the pencil marks that are now no longer valid as being a 3. Because that's not a big thing for me, but it does when it gets into the more challenging puzzles. You spend more time erasing pencil marks than you spent putting them in the first place. So I like it when they remove them for me. And this one actually goes a little bit further than I've ever seen before, where if you try to put a pencil mark in a place that's not valid due to the existence of other numbers, it'll give you a little warning. It'll go, but there's no penalty for it. So that's kind of a gentle dissuasion. So if you try to put a big number in that's wrong, you'll get a penalty. You'll get a 1-minute penalty on your first error, 2-minute penalty on your second, up to 5 minutes. Then each subsequent error will add 5 minutes each time. One thing I wish it did is kind of like in Picross. In all the Picross games, normally the first thing I do is shut off the option of tell me when I put a bad cell in. Mainly because I don't want the time penalty, and if I mess it up that bad, I either want to be able to rewind it and figure it out myself, or I'll just scrap it and start the puzzle over.
Right.
But here, even if a 3 could be valid, but if I put it in and it's not right, it'll ding me. So I kind of wish they handled that better, and then let me realize later that I have no place to put a 3. I must have messed something up. Another thing I like is as you use the shoulder buttons to rotate which number is active 1 through 9, and as you're doing it, your pencil marks will light up, and the cells that don't have that number in it will be brighter. So it's easier to see where your options are. So that makes things a little bit easier. So it's called Relax because the background has these little... It's a colored background with these white designs that just kind of scrolls around. It's supposed to be, soothing and relaxing. And there's very different music tracks that are also kind of relaxing. Though I normally play puzzle games with the sound off, so I didn't hear them. And as you get further in the game, it'll unlock additional background patterns, additional audio tracks and audio effects for when you're doing it. The few things that I don't like about it is when you do make an error, and the time it takes to give you the error noise and the error effects, you can't move the cursor. I wish the cursor was still movable, because especially if you get in a rhythm, you want a 3 here, here, and here, and then so you want to just keep that cursor flowing. But if you hit a stop, then it delays your input, and it's kind of jarring. And similarly, near the end of a puzzle, as you're completing rows and completing bricks, it does more sparkly effects to show you that you're getting further. But that also puts a delay in your cursor movement. So I'm like, just don't stop the game to show the effect. Just let me play through it. And then, so that's really the only thing I don't like about it. So everything else is nice. And then the other thing that the game does is the game starts you with, I forget the colors because I don't really pay attention to the background because I'm focusing on the numbers. But the background color changes as you go through, giving you a status of how far into the game you are. And there's 300 puzzles total, 100 easy, 100 medium, 100 hard. and then it keeps track of the fastest time per puzzle. So you can always go back and try to solve a puzzle faster. Like if you got dinged 3 times, so it says you did it in 9 minutes. Well, you can just redo it again without any errors in 3 minutes because you had 6 minutes in penalties.
Gotcha. So that sounds like quite a bit of customization or quite a bit of options for $3.50.
Yeah, so I'm liking it.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've liked a video game version of Sudoku.
Sudoku, relax. I love it. I love the title. I have been playing a few games this week, mainly just today because I haven't really had time to play any video games before today. 2 huge eShop releases today. Cuphead, of course, releasing from Studio MDHR, and Katana Zero from Devolver Digital. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on Cuphead because I feel like most people already know what the hype is about Cuphead. Most people already know that it's why it's important for Nintendo to have Cuphead on the Switch. I am so freaking stoked that it's finally on the Switch and I don't have to play it at my office on our work Xbox, right? Yeah. That's like the only place I've been able to play it. So now I'm finally going to be able to make my way through the game. They sold 2 units of this game just in my household because I bought it and my son also pre-ordered it because he's currently obsessed with both Mega Man and Cuphead, which is awesome.
Is that going to land on your church Switch too?
Probably not. We tend to stick to party games and Smash and
That's
Mario
fair.
Kart and things like that.
Are you going to participate in the monthly Madness game?
Yes, and that's a great segue into talking about this. So our tournaments over at our Discord have been fantastic over the last few months. Drew and Zach have done, or John have done, I called him Zach because his name is Zablanc. Zablanc. John Blanco and Drew DeFusco have done a fantastic job over there organizing these tournaments. But what happened was that it was hard to jump in them if you didn't play every game, right? It was hard to feel like you were able to join in and actually compete. So what we've done, or what they've done actually, is come up with something called Monthly Mayhem. There will be 1 game a month that we pick, possibly, most likely a new release. This month it's Cuphead, where there will be a series of challenges for you to complete in the game, and then post your score to them privately, and you'll be entered in to win prizes. The overall winner, here's the deal. The overall winner of the thing, whoever has the highest score for that game, is going to win a $15 eShop card from us, from the Nintendo Dads. All right? The other people, second place and under, and first place will not be eligible for this. Second place and under, however many people play, the number of points that you have will enter as chances in a raffle to win a $10 eShop card from us. And so what we're going to do is we're going to split our monthly giveaways that we've been doing. We're going to continue to do $50 a month. $25 a month will just go to one lucky patron. $15 a month will go to the winner of Monthly Mayhem. $10 will be given to a drawing from participants in Monthly Mayhem. You can literally win $10 in eShop credit just for booting the game up if you have it. And so from today until May 18th, the Cuphead Monthly Mayhem is on. Go over there to the Monthly Mayhem channel, and you'll be able to see all about it. But I think you need Cuphead. I really do. I think you need this game if you're a fan of platforming, run and gun type things, anything that stretches you and challenges you a little bit as a gamer too, because it's extremely hard. But I'll just love the aesthetic and everything. But I do want to talk about this game. Mainly because anything Devolver Digital puts out, I just go nuts for. Katana Zero, guys, do not sleep on this game. It is so good and it is so different than anything that's out right now. And you might say, well, Marty, it's 2D pixelated, blah, 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 blah. Yes, it is, but let me just give you a basic rundown of this game. You're playing as a samurai in like some post-apocalyptic, war-torn like cityscape. and you start out in the game like very blatantly tells you 10 days left. 10 days till what? You don't know. You're dropped into the middle of a mystery. And you start the game in the tutorial by killing everybody you come across. And the game is really good at teaching you how to do all the moves, all the things you need to do, even in later levels where you have to incorporate stealth and do different things like that. It teaches you how to do it as you're playing. Here's the hook about Katana Zero. You can only get hit once. Actually, you can't even get hit once. You get hit, you die. All right? So there's these sequences in the game where you're literally busting through the floor, and your slash busting through the floor kills a guy. There's 5 other guys up there. You grab a bottle, hit one guy, he dies. You hit the other 3, and they've got swords, and 2 of them block it. One dies, so you roll through the other 2 and then kill them from behind. You feel like you're in an action movie. You feel like you're in like an episode of one of the Matrix movies or something like that, because you also have the power to slow down time with precognition. And I'm not going to spoil any of the story, but there's so many subtle things about this game. And Gary, you played this at EGX, and you can kind of talk about this a little bit too. There's so many little subtle audio and HD rumble and visual cues in this game.
Yeah,
that are just so unique.
One of the things that sort of blew me away is it's very 80s looking. It's very VHS tape. Like
yes,
rewind. If you die, it says no, that won't work, and then it rewinds and does all cool like.
In fact, the option screen is the typical like old VCR screen when you would turn your VCR on and it's blue with blocky white print. That is the option screen. There's a picture of it up on my Twitter account. You can go over there and take a look at it.
But one of the most awesome things about it is, yes, it's pixel art, but there's a lot of like neon lights around, and the pixels on like the character's hair and clothing will actually reflect the light as well.
Yes.
So, and it's kind of hard to explain, but it doesn't look. You get a lot of retro-inspired games like in the indie scene, and a lot of them try to replicate exactly an old game. This isn't. It's just taking pixel art as an art form and sort of evolving it a little bit. So the pixels actually interact with lighting and shadows and stuff like that. It just looks really awesome.
As I was playing today, art was actually one of the words that was in my mind about this game. It is visually stunning.
Yeah.
What they've been able to do with just the layer of detail that they've been able to create, and the story's engaging. And there are times where you'll need to respond in a time limit, and there's branching paths of dialogue and different things like that. So this is not one to sleep on. It's $14.99 in the eShop right now, and I know Cuphead's huge and Mortal Kombat's coming out and everything, but don't miss Katana Zero, guys, especially if you're a fan of Ninja Gaiden, if you're a fan of just like that old school hard as nails ninja platform, like it really does feel like you're in an action movie, and I don't think you'll regret purchasing it because it's just gorgeous. And I also love, like, this was a little detail that I noticed, like at the very start of the game, you're sent in for your first mission, and he does this every time. Your character, like, you watch him, he puts on headphones, and there's like a little snap in your, in the HD rumble, and then down in the bottom, a like notification comes up, and it shows the name of the track and the composer, who is actually the composer of the music of the game, nice. Bill Kiley. And so it's just neat little details like that, right? I do like that, it is, I guess, an unlimited live system like Gary was talking about. If you mess up, oh no, that doesn't work, it just rewinds you. Where I kind of got frustrated a couple of times, though, and it was my fault, was I would get to the end of the level and I would complete my objective and I'm leaving the level and I make some dumb mistake and it rewinds you all the way back to the start.
Yeah, and I think that they do that on purpose. Like they'll shove extra enemies into the screen as you're just about to leave.
Yes.
And it's almost puzzle-like in the way that you have to kill the enemies as well. Like, you don't have to go in katana swinging around and killing them. Like, there's places where you can use the environment to do the job for you.
Environmental kills, yeah.
So,
how satisfying is it to swing that katana and ricochet a bullet back toward one of the enemies.
Yeah, it's kind of strange because it's not very often that you get like a 2D sort of I suppose hack and slash in a sort of way game that's quite puzzly. But this I felt that Katana Zero really was.
Yeah, it is. There's definitely a puzzle element to it. There's definitely multiple ways to complete some of the stages. I just went through a stage where they've trained you for several levels before that to slaughter everything. You can't leave until everything's dead, and then you get to this level and it's like, don't kill anything. And you know how hard that is. You know how hard that is after you've spent 3 or 4 levels being trained to kill. It's extremely hard, and like I ended up like you get to the end of the level, it's fine, you can get there without killing anything, but then getting back out is the problem. How do you get out without killing anything? So Katana Zero is out. It's by Devolver Digital. You need to go pick this one up. That's what we've been playing this week.
Yeah, this game is not going to be released right away in the Australian region. Did you hear about this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it got
flagged.
I'm looking at a Kotaku article now. It received a classification refused rating from their ratings board through an automated IARC process, whatever that is, versus actually having a human direct the ban. So Devolver Digital is going to resubmit it and hope for a better result.
Yeah, I think they already have. That's how I read it, was that it has already been resubmitted, and that is that's ending up right there. Hopefully, you guys down there in Australia.
This article came out on Tuesday, so
yeah.
So it's been
well, guys, that is episode 226 of Nintendo Dads. We want to thank.
I have one more thing, real quick.
Okay.
This kind of breaking news. I just saw that there's going to be a Shiny Meltan event. It's again from the 24th to May 5th. The times are in UTC, so I'm not sure what the times will be in North America yet. But it'll start before our next show, so we'll probably have more information about it next week once it's in the middle of it.
All that breaking news about Pokemon Go. Like I said, this has been episode 226 of Nintendo Dads. We want to thank Bill, Mr. Vaca, at DoidLife518 over on Twitter for checking us out.
Thank you,
Bill,
guys.
Why don't you, as you close out the show, anything else you want to say, but also tell people where they can find you straight from your lips to their ears.
Go to YouTube, check out Mr. Vaca, type that in the search bar. You'll see my ugly face next to Reggie. I'm dressed like Mario, and you'll see all the Nintendo stuff that we do at our school. It's a lot of fun. But thank you guys again for having me. It's been a real treat, a real honor.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about the inspiring work that you and your leaders are doing with Labo. I wish you so much more success on that. And on that note, we're going to end the show. We do want to take a minute right here to say congratulations and well done to Mr. Reggie Fils-Aimé, who left the building at Nintendo for the last time this week as he retired, as we talked about earlier in the show, rode off into the sunset on a high note with the Switch absolutely killing it. Reggie, man, it's gonna be weird without Reggie at E3 this year, but I think Doug Bowser's going to do some good work. I'm excited about what's next. Change is always scary, but don't be afraid. I think that Nintendo has picked the best man for the job. It's not somebody they're bringing in from the outside. It's somebody who's already internal. It's somebody who's already knows what's going on. Reggie, we wish you the best and enjoy time with your family and retirement.
Yeah, he sent tweets out showing some of the gifts he got, and they're
amazing
artwork.
Awesome. Yeah, the Reginator. I love it. I love the notebook and all that stuff where take his names, and it's awesome.
A box to Wada amiibo.
Yeah.
So what if he's one of the Smash Fighters, Reggie Fils-Aimé?
Yes.
I'd be all about it. I would.
Yep.
I'm down for it. Yes, absolutely.
The final Smash is the puppets.
Yes. Yes, Star Fox puppets. Guys, this has been episode 226. Thank you for hanging out with us each and every week right here at Nintendo Dads. Go check out Mr. Vaca over on YouTube. Go check us out over on YouTube as well for all of our news, reviews, unboxings, all that good stuff. And let's close out the show like we normally do. We want to say huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, John Blanco, Dave Ernsberger, and Timothy Off. Hello, Toothless. We're also now available on Spotify as well. You can check us out over at Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora. I don't know. FM radio, AM radio. We're everywhere. There is some kind of weird plush dance party going on that is very distracting. You can follow us on social media at Nintendo Dads. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. Find us at Twitch and YouTube just by typing in Nintendo Dads. Call in and leave us a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. And if you want to buy some sweet Nintendo Dads merchandise, go on over to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads Store. That's all lowercase, tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads Store. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show, and Adam Leonard and Carter Johnson for all their sweet artwork for us. For me, for Gary, for Jesse, for Bill, for Pikachu, Litton, Toothless, and some Rainbow Dash pony thing that just popped up a few minutes ago. This has been episode 226 of Nintendo Dads. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Thank you
Oh,
for
that's
listening to Nintendo Dads.
Pew, 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 pew.